Wade Boggs at third base. Dwight Evans batting cleanup at first base. Mike Greenwell in left field. Sam Horn is the DH. Rick Cerrone, the catcher. Jody Reed is at shortstop. And Brady Anderson is in right field, batting ninth. For the Royals, Willie Wilson leads off in center field. Kevin Seitzer at third base. George Brett is the DH. Danny Tartabull in right field. Mike McFarland, the catcher. Bo Jackson in left field. Frank White at second base. Steve Balboni at first base. And Kurt Stillwell is the shortstop, batting ninth. And for the Royals, it's right-hander Mark Gubicza on the mound.
Sean, both these pitchers making their 8th start of the year for their respective ball clubs. And Gubicza had a very good April. As a matter of fact, helped this Kansas City ball club quite well, going 3-1 in that month, and was working in front of a lot of hitters. And you get down to the base on balls and the strikeout marks now, you notice those base on balls almost even with the strikeouts. Most of those base on balls have come in his last 2 starts, and he's trying to break a personal 2-game losing streak, and of course, get that mark over the 500.
First pitch of the ball game to Ellis Burks, a fastball inside, and we are underway.
You'll see a power-type pitcher in Gubicza. He's a power pitcher with movement. That fastball will be running in on right-hand hitters' hands. Works in front of hitters, as most power-type pitchers will. He can make it awfully tough on hitters.
1-1 now, the count to Burks. Fouled at home plate, a ball and 2 strikes.
Remember Tom Seaver, when you used to watch him pitch, how dirty that right leg got? Well, Gubicza the same way, bouncing it off that ground. He uses a knee pad there. Talking about leg drive, perfect example of it. Boy, a guy at 6'5", 210 doesn't need an awful lot of leg drive, does he? Gubicza's got it, though.
The 1-2 to Ellis Burks. Hit in the air well to right field. But with room is Tartabull. And that's out number 1.
I think balls hit in that area of this ballpark tonight is going to get a little bit of a push, which is a little different kind of breeze here at Royal Stadium. It's more from the third base foul line across into that right field corner of the right field bullpen area for Kansas City.
Marty Barrett 5 for his last 7 over the last 2 games to get his average up to 292. He's second on the team with 19 runs batted in. And he fouls that at home plate for strike 1. Dwight Evans leads the team with 20 runs batted in. Barrett, a .333 hitter lifetime against Mark Gubicza, 11 for 33 in his career against the Kansas City right-hander. And the count to him now, 1 ball and 1 strike. Foul tip, says home plate umpire Dale Ford. 1-2, just underway. Top of the first inning, no score. And Barrett out on strikes.
I think that at bat by Barrett kind of gives you the idea of what I meant when a power pitcher can work in front of you. Gubicza made some very tough pitches and, of course, was well in front of Barrett. It enables him to employ a pretty hard slider, which Barrett just is really thinking about protecting inside on and trying to cover the whole plate. You just can't do that.
Wade Boggs up with 2 outs and the bases empty. And he takes a fastball high for ball 1. Boggs at .337 with 11 runs driven in. Dale Ford is the home plate umpire tonight. Al Clark at first, Ted Hendry at second, and Jim Evans at third. Frank White. And a 1-2-3 inning for Mark Gubicza in the first. At the end of half an inning, the Red Sox nothing, and the Kansas City Royals coming up.
Into the TV 38 Pepsi Home Run Sweepstakes and get a chance to win a pair of Red Sox tickets and a case of Pepsi, the choice of a new generation. Just send your name and address to TV 38 Pepsi Home Run Sweepstakes, Box 500, Boston.
The starting pitcher tonight for the Red Sox, Roger Clemens.
Well, it should be a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a breeze for Roger Clemens, but a couple of outings for him against his Kansas City ball club. And Sean, you were talking earlier about what happens to you in the past if it sticks in your mind. These Royal batters cannot exactly be thrilled about running up to the dish against Roger. He's faced the Royals about 3 times in spring training. On one occasion, struck out 9 in just 4 innings, and over 2 meetings against the Royals, struck out a total of 17. So they're not exactly great about running up there to face him. You look at some big totals for Clemens, of course, and he continues to lead the American League in strikeouts with those 67. As you look at the top 8 in that department, Mark Langston and Clemens kind of battling last year back and forth. Langston right behind Clemens now, and down to the 8th spot where Bruce Hurst, who will work here tomorrow night, he may be, well, watching closely to see how Roger works 1 or 2 of these Kansas City Royal hitters.
No score as Clemens gets set to work here in the bottom of the first. Willie Wilson steps in to lead it off for Kansas City. He'll be followed by Kevin Seitzer and George Brett in the first. Wilson at 269 with 5 runs batted in. And the first pitch of the night from Clemens, a fastball, high, ball 1. "69 degrees at game time here at Royal Stadium." 1-1 now, the count to Wilson. A moderate breeze blowing out toward right field in the start of the ball game. And the count 1-2. Dale Ford took some time to think about that one, but came through with the strike call. Those are the conditions at Royal Stadium. An absolutely perfect night for baseball. And the count now 2-2 to Willie Wilson. And now a full count. Strike 3. Strikeout number 68 of the season for Roger Clemens, and 1 out in the first.
Well, what a blistering fastball this is.
Didn't even come close.
No.
Kevin Seitzer, the batter. He's at 307. A homer and 15 runs driven in. Seitzer's just 2 for 13, a 154 clip during this Royals 5-game losing streak. And he takes ball 1 inside. 1 out and the base is empty in the bottom of the first, no score. That's outside, 2-0. On the corner, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, if you hit her, you sin, you say, wow, now I got Roger in a little bit of a spot here. I got him 2-0, and then you see what happens. That's where Clemens can just dominate a ball game. You know, he's behind in the count. He's still able to make real tough, tight pitches.
That's right under the chin of Seitzer. 3 balls and 1 strike. Clemens has made 8 career starts against Kansas City. As Monty told you at the outset, he's 6-1 lifetime against this ball club with a 1.64 ERA. for the second time in as many batters. The count now full, 3-2, and Seitzer mad at himself for chasing a pitch that appeared to be out of the strike zone. Out of play, first base side. Still 3-2. Despite his poor performance on this homestand for the Royals, Seitzer has still hit safely in 15 of his last 18 games, and he hangs alive, again chasing a pitch that appeared to be high. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Base hit to right field. Single for Kevin Seitzer in the first.
Seitzer with 200 hits last year as a rookie, and he gives you the idea of just about how he went about doing that. He doesn't try to get too fancy at the plate. He's very basic as far as his swing is concerned. A little compact type swing. The ball's out over the plate. He doesn't try to pull it. He wouldn't be thinking about trying to pull Clemens at any rate, at no point in the count. Make a mistake on him inside, and he'll pop you. Pull it to left.
George Brett off to a fine start. 339 his average, 6 homers, and a team-leading 25 runs batted in. No score. We're in the bottom of the first. Ooh, right off the mask of Dale Ford. Strike 1. Seitzer has stolen 5 bases this year, but none since April 24th. He's been caught 3 times trying to steal this season.
I think some of that, Sean, is probably due to the hip problem that he had. He didn't play in that series in Boston, which was a break for the Red Sox, the way the little guy hits Red Sox pitching, but it didn't help them nonetheless.
The 0-1 to Brett. High, ball 1. Brett has hit safely in 7 straight ball games, hitting .464 over those 7, and he's had at least 1 hit in 11 of his last 12. Single to left. Seitzer stops at second. Brett aboard at first. Runners at first and second with 1 out in the Kansas City first and a scoreless ball game.
Top part of this Kansas City order has been getting their job done. Seitzer over 300. Brett, of course, trying to get his name, as he says, backup mention with the stars in this game, and he is certainly doing that. Bad news for pitchers. And this man who's stepping in there right now, Tartabull, with his average over 300. So there certainly is some concern for an awful lot of pitchers facing the top part of this Royal order.
Danny Tartabull at 303. 4 homers and 18 runs batted in. Red Sox infield at double play depth, looking to get out of this inning. Tartabull a big cut and a miss at the fastball for strike 1. Tartabull has been walked 7 times over his last 4 games, and that points directly to the biggest problem the Royals have had, according to their manager, John Wathan. He says they have not been able to find a number 5 hitter to bat behind Tartabull. Popped up, foul ground. Brady Anderson to the rail, and he makes a leaping catch. Seitzer heads for third, and he'll get there safely. Brett remains at first. Runners at the corners with 2 outs. And a fine play made by Brady Anderson up against the wall in foul territory down the right field line.
And Sean, if anybody else is running except Seitzer, or anybody, I should say, with a little less speed than Seitzer, Anderson's going to have a pretty good shot at throwing him out. He's going to check himself there and then make the catch. He didn't really have to jump at that point, but it's a fine catch nonetheless. And check out that that line drive he throws to third.
Seitzer at third, Brett at first, and the batter is Mike McFarland, the Royals catcher, who's at 308 with 4 runs batted in. Strike one. McFarland, the newest to try the number 5 spot in the Royal lineup. Jim Eisenreich has had the most considerable amount of time batting 5th for the Royals, and Frank White as well, but both of them batting less than 200, so now it's McFarland's turn. Two.
Takes a pretty good whack. He's got a wiggle against Clemens, that's for sure.
No score, bottom of the first inning. Runners at the corners with 2 outs for Kansas City, and Clemens ahead of McFarland, no balls and 2 strikes. That's outside, 1-2. And Clemens gets out of it. Put it on the outside corner. 2 strikeouts in the first inning for Roger Clemens. At the end of 1, no score. To the second we go, a scoreless ball game. And Dwight Evans set to lead it off in the second against Mark Gubicza. Evans at 279, a homer and 20 runs batted in. His first home run of the year came yesterday in the Red Sox 10-6 victory over the Twins. Dewey is hit now in 5 straight games. And he takes a strike over the knees.
Wasn't satisfied with his afternoon. He was out yesterday afternoon, I should say. He was out here this afternoon taking some early hitting.
That's drifting toward the seats and into them. Alboni gave chase.
Got to be the young man's first game. Got to be. Give it back to him, Steve. Attaboy. Sure.
Now hang on to it this time, Daddy says.
Well, probably all the games that young man's been to, you had to throw it back. They probably didn't start the game with maybe 3 or 4 baseballs. Nice play.
We've seen fans in other cities do that on home run balls out of the bleachers when the opposition hits them, throw them back, but certainly not foul balls like that. 1-2 the count to Evans, leading off the second. Greenwell and Horn to follow. And now 2-2. Down the line and slicing foul. Mark Gubicza is just 25 years old. Born in Philadelphia, now lives in Northridge, California. As Monty told you, he's 6'5", 210 pounds. And the count to Evans still 2-2. And a full count, and Evans asked Dale Ford to check the baseball. He does, and throws it right back to Kubica. Still 3-2. Lined right to Stillwell at short.
Oh, what a great sound of the bat this is. You're talking about solid contact. I mean, Evans has roped this one. Frozen rope indeed. Stillwell did not have to move.
Mike Greenwell at .287, 2 homers and 13 runs batted in, and slumping of late. And he takes ball 1 low inside. No score, top of the second. 1 out and the base is empty. Hit toward the gap in left center, but hanging up long enough for Bo Jackson and Willie Wilson to get there, and Jackson made the catch. Greenwell is out number 2. Ball doesn't have to hang up that long for Jackson
No.
and Wilson to get to it, but that one happened to stay up long enough for just about any outfield to get to it. Sam Horn at 161 with 4 runs batted in. Ball 1 low. John McNamara said before the ball game that Jim Rice would be back in as the DH tomorrow night against the lefty Floyd Bannister. 2-0 now to Horn. McNamara said that it is not a platoon situation, that Rice is going to be in the lineup regularly as soon as Rice feels like he has worked himself out of this recent hitting slump that he has fallen into. Off-speed pitch that missed outside, and Horn ahead 3 balls and no strikes. Jim Rice and Ed Romero looking on from the Red Sox dugout. I admire Jim Rice's honesty in saying to John McNamara that right now he doesn't feel comfortable enough to be in there. 3-1, the count to Horn, who had the green light on the 3-0 pitch and took a big rip and missed. He's not used to that position, that's for sure. And ball 4. The Red Sox have their first base runner. Sam Horn draws a 2-out walk in the second in a scoreless game. Rick Cerrone checks in at 365 with a homer and 5 driven in. Strike 1. Cerrone has started 15 ball games behind the plate for the Red Sox, and he's had at least 1 hit in 11 of them. And much more than that, Monty. He's done a terrific job handling pitchers with whom he really was not very familiar heretofore.
Certainly has.
The 0-1 pitch, well outside, backhanded by McFarland, 1-1.
One thing that has helped him too, Sean, he's catching a pitching staff that is around the strike zone a high percentage of the time, and believe me, that really helps a catcher as much as anything. Once you catch a guy 5 or 6 innings, you've got a pretty good idea where he's going to go after that.
Up the middle, a base hit. Horn stops at second. Cerrone has now hit safely in 12 of 16 games. He has Boston's first hit and 2 men aboard in the second with 2 outs.
What the Red Sox are getting from Cerrone now is just bonus time, really, because every time he gets a base hit in there, you just look at it and say, hey, That's a plus for me all the way. I'm concerned with that man doing a job for me, handling my pitching staff, throwing a runner or two out here and there, although he hasn't thrown that many people out, something like 3 for 13, and there's a good chance he'll get tested in this ball game tonight or in this series for certain.
Jody Reed at 167 with 1 run driven in. He's trying to drive in the game's first run right here. First pitch from Mark Gubiza. Away from McFarland, right off his glove into the backstop, and both runners advance. Horn goes to third, and Rick Cerrone moves down to second base.
I'll tell you, McFarland should have handled this ball, but I'll tell you why he doesn't handle it. You've been watching Gubiza's fastball run into the hitter, and all of a sudden he throws his catcher a sailor. This ball will go the other way on him, and McFarland just simply doesn't get the glove there in time to handle it. Should be a pass ball. I don't know how they ruled it.
It is a pass ball, Monty.
Reggie Cleveland, he used to do that all the time to you. He'd sinker, a running fastball, and all of a sudden the 6th or the 7th fastball he'd throw you would be a sailor. It'd be tough to handle it.
1-0 to Reed. A strike at the knees. 1-1. 2 outs and 2 men in scoring position in the second. No score.
Sox could really take advantage of that. They break out early. That's what they've been doing when they've won the majority of their ball games. Has been when they get on the board quick. Base hit not necessarily would have scored Horn from second.
Slowly to short. Stillwell throw in time to get Reed, and the Red Sox threat goes by the boards in the second. At the end of an inning and a half, there's no score. Are you looking for a new way to enjoy a Red Sox game? Why not attend a game at Fenway Park in a group? Take in exciting Red Sox baseball with a group of your friends, family, or business associates. The Red Sox offer special discount programs for youth groups, senior citizens, and families, as well as community groups of 500 or more. For more information on ordering tickets for groups of 40 or more, please call the Red Sox Group Sales Office at 617-262-1915.
Talk about Clemens in leading the American League in strikeouts and a power pitcher. He also can set hitters up because of the control. Check McFarland out here. A couple of fastballs to quickly get the 0-2 count. And the pitch you'll miss here is a high and outside pitch for a ball to set this one up. Gotcha. Second strikeout for Clemens in this ball game.
That's just not fair.
No, it isn't. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Clemens set to work against Bo Jackson, who leads off the second in a scoreless ball game. Bo's at 260, 6 homers and 14 driven in. And a fastball catches the inside corner for strike 1.
For a guy to grow up and have that kind of fastball is not necessarily fair either. Well, he can just singe.
1-1. Out of play. And we'll pause now for station identification. This is the TV 38 Red Sox Network.
This is TV 38, WSBK TV, Boston.
A 1-2 pitch to Bo Jackson. High and tight, 2-2. Jackson strikes out for the 35th time this season, and Clemens has his third of the ball game. That's 35 strikeouts and 101 at-bats for Bo Jackson.
Jackson wouldn't chase the high one, so Roger brought it down just a little bit and maybe put just a little more zip on it. That ball right by Jackson. See actually the blur of the ball about on the back point of the plate, as Jackson's bat is about even with the middle of the plate. You shouldn't feel bad, though. There are a lot of hitters that line up like that.
Frank White fouls it straight back for strike one. White struggling out of the gate in '88. He's at 194, a homer and 10 driven in. White a winner of 8 Gold Gloves, and he's not committed an error this season. That just missed. 1-1.
White's moved up and down that Royal lineup on a number of years. He's batted every place. Cleanup for a while and batted fifth, as you mentioned earlier, a number of times. Even this year batted there. And he was a little surprised tonight. I was talking to him in the clubhouse. He says, I wonder what Duke, and that's what they call John Wathan here, Duke. I wonder what he's trying to tell me by batting me 7th. And I said, well, Frank, he may be giving you a compliment.
Chased a bad ball there, 2-2. Why would that be a compliment?
Well, what Wathan maybe is thinking with White batting down in that position is to put him between 2 strikeout type hitters. He's not going to give Clemens an easy shot at 3 strikeouts in a row with Jackson, whoever may bat in between him and Balboni.
White's gone. He looked at the third one, and he's the 4th strikeout victim of the night for Roger Clemens.
Number 45, the first baseman, Steve Balboni.
Just some blistering type pitches from Clemens in this sequence.
Even too hot for Rick Cerrone to handle cleanly. That's 3 strikeouts in a row for Roger. And Steve Balboni, the hitter. He's off to a slow start at 128. And he takes a strike. Score. 2 outs and the base is clear in the home half of the second here at Royal Stadium. That's out of play, and Balboni quickly behind 0-2.
Saw Rick Cerrone point up in the air there. He's telling his infielders plus Clemens, I need some help here. We're at a very bad part of the afternoon. We play here in the Midwest, of course, and that sun takes a little bit longer to set, and the sky is just at a point now where it's just about the same color of the baseball. It's just so difficult to pick it up.
Clemens looking to strike out the side, and he does. 5 strikeouts through 2 innings for Roger Clemens, including 4 in a row. At the end of 2, no score. Copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Boston Red Sox and TV 38 and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the expressed written consent of the Boston Red Sox and TV 38 is prohibited. Beautiful night for baseball here at Royal Stadium in Kansas City. No score through 2. The Royals about hit the Red Sox 2-1, and Brady Anderson leads off the third against Mark Gubiza. Brady's at 253 with 6 runs batted in. And he takes ball 1 low. Brady has started 13 games in a row now. He's hitting .311 over the previous 12. And he's level with Gubiza, 1 ball and 1 strike. Seitzer, as you saw, well off the line at third and in front of the line where the dirt would normally begin on a grass field. 2-1 to Anderson.
That could really kind of play into Brady's hand. He'd slap that ball now, having Seitzer drawn in there. A lot more room to go to the opposite field.
Check swing and a ball outside. They appeal to Jim Evans, and he says it was indeed no swing. 3-1 to Anderson. And ball 4 misses low and outside. Anderson draws the second walk thrown by Mark Gubiza.
The center fielder.
Brady's dad is here in attendance tonight. His father, Jerry, flew in from California for this series. Ellis Burks fly to right his first time up.
He must have chartered a plane in, because I saw an awful lot of a big number by Anderson's name on that pass list today. The reason I was checking the pass list, I know Marty Barrett has some relatives here, and I wanted to see how many Marty left, just for curiosity's sake, and accidentally saw the number turned in by Anderson. Oh, that's great. Have your parents or your relatives be able to see you play a game in the big leagues? Outstanding.
This, of course, is Brady's first game ever here at Royal Stadium. No score. We're in the top of the third. Anderson going on the pitch. It's a strike. The throw to second, not in time. Stolen base number 2 of the season for Brady Anderson, and he's in scoring position with nobody out in the third.
Well, it opens up the door here. So many opportunities with Burks as the batter and Anderson with that speed there. Good throw for McFarland to work on up and in. Like Frank White had a little trouble with his footing around that bag, or he would have been able to get that tag down just a little bit quicker. He just kept right on going and didn't have a firm footing to really put the tag on Brady. It was close as it was.
1 strike, the count to Burks. And now 1 ball. Ellis went 3 for 5 yesterday against the Twins with a homer and 3 runs batted in. He's had at least 1 game and 1 hit rather in 12 of the 14 games in which he has played. Two and 1. And now 2 and 2. That one might have aggravated the sore wrist just a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure Ellis Burks has in the back of his mind somehow to hit that ball to the right side or hit it into the right center field area to move Anderson along. And it looks like he starts, and all of a sudden that ball starts back in on him. See how quickly he had to get those hands into the body with that running tight fastball, and that's a very difficult pitch to hit to the right side unless you have a defined inside-out type swing.
And he's out on strikes. Big strikeout for Mark Gubiza. Burks down swinging. And that's strikeout number 2 for the Kansas City right-hander.
Bit of a comeback by Gubiza in this at-bat for Burks. He got behind him and then made some pretty tough pitches. That up and in one really helped set that slider up to come up with a strikeout, keep the ball out of play, and you make the out, no base advancement.
Marty Barrett struck out his first time up. 1 out, and Brady Anderson at second. We're in the third, a scoreless ball game, and ball 1 is low to Barrett. Marty is the man you want up there in this situation. He's hitting .455 with men in scoring position this season. One ball and 1 strike. Toward the gap in left center field. Wilson is over there, and he makes the catch. And Anderson was not tagging on the play, and he goes back into second. Barrett hit it well, but too close to Willie Wilson, and that's out number 2 here in the third. Wade Boggs bounced to second his first time up. A .400 lifetime hitter against Gubiza. He's 12 for 30 in his career against Mark. Strike one, over just above the knees. Wade has hit in 9 of his last 10 ball games. Good play by McFarland to backhand that out of the dirt. 1-1 the count to Boggs with 2 outs and Anderson aboard at second. In the third, no score.
That breaking ball is hard. This is about the only way McFarland can attack it. You just start out as far as you can get with it. Put the glove down and hope. What you're trying to do is just knock it down. You catch it, that's wonderful. But you're also very lucky when you catch that one. You just hope it hits some part of the mitt or some part of you.
McFarland has been by far the most successful of the Royals catchers. John Wathan says he's been the best both offensively and defensively. Jamie Quirk is hitting just 156. The 1-1 pitch to Boggs inside. 2-1.
Gubicza's trying to do something here to Boggs that kind of takes Gubicza away from his strong suit. They've got the outfield swung around to play Boggs away, which you would.
Slapped out of play behind third base. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Sometimes when a pitcher has that big movement like Gubicza has on his fastball, which in this case would be running away from Boggs, they have a difficult time in getting inside on the left-handed. They'll have to try to get in there with a breaking ball. Well, that's an off-speed pitch to do that, and that enables Boggs to get in a little more of a bat control situation. They just let that ball tail away, and they got him played that way.
That tailed away, and Boggs hit it to Stillwell. Throw takes... No, it does not take Falboni off the bag, says Al Clark, and Boggs is out at first. That ends the inning. Through 2.5. No score at Royal Stadium.
Clemens set up McFarland to strike him out in the first inning. Then in the third inning, Clemens struck out the side with the power-type pitcher that he is. Fastball and a miss there. Fastball taken. And then one more fastball swing and a miss. Clemens now with 5 strikeouts through 2 innings.
And 4 in a row as he faces Kurt Stillwell and throws him the breaking ball for a strike. Stillwell at 263, 2 homers and 11 runs batted in. No score, we're in the third. 1-1. Stillwell has played in every game the Royals have played this season, all 30 of them. 2-1 the count to him now. He's just 22 years old. That's on the corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Scoreboard operator trying to do a little umpiring for Dale Ford.
That's the second time they've had the count wrong in the Royals' favor. The scoreboard shows 3 balls and 1 strike, when in fact the count is 2-2. The scoreboard has 3-2 up there now. It is still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dale Ford doing his Richard Nixon imitation there. Now they've corrected it. 2-2 the count. 2-3. 5 strikeouts in a row for Clemens. 6 in all and 1 out here in the third.
Well, he's back to the setup again. Here the strikeout comes with the breaking ball, the hard slider, a biter.
Willie Wilson struck out his first time up. Checks his swing. And it's ball 1 after the appeal. ball and 1 strike. Elsewhere in the American League tonight, the White Sox lead Baltimore 3-0 at the end of 5. Royce against Boddicker. Milwaukee going for its 10th straight win at Minnesota. No score at the end of 3, and 1-2 the count to Wilson. The starters in that game at the Metrodome, Birkbeck and Straker. Later on, Cleveland is at California, and Detroit at Oakland as the Athletics go for their 14th straight victory. Clemens looking for his 7th strikeout, his 6th in a row. The 1-2 pitch slapped out of play.
Certainly the edge that Clemens had over the Kansas City Ball Club in spring training is one thing, because obviously pitchers of Clemens' type would be well ahead of hitters anyway. It was for a good part, and have had time to catch up.
Wilson threw the bat at it, looped it down the line, foul ball.
Nonetheless, Kansas City hitters have to know how powerful a Clemens can be against them. Coming into this ball game tonight, and just to bring it right up to date, as a matter of fact, with 6 strikeouts tonight, Clemens has now struck out 64 Kansas City Royal hitters in 68 innings.
Again, the 1-2. Foul straight back. I told John Wathan the secret to beating Clemens before the ball game tonight, but he didn't listen to me. I told him to dress his team in the Chicago White Sox uniforms. 2-2 now to Willie Wilson. 1 out and the bases empty in the home half of the 3rd. No score.
Well, now that you mentioned Chicago, one thing that may be helping Roger tonight, although he paid for it with a loss, he went just 6 2/3 in his last start. So probably a little stronger.
Lob to left. Greenwell there. 2 outs. That breaks Clemens' strikeout string. He had struck out 5 in a row. Kevin Seitzer has one of the Royals' 2 hits. He singled to right field his first time up. Strike 1. It was on August 2nd of last season here at Royal Stadium. And Seitzer had 6 hits in 1 game against Boston. He's level with Clemens now, 1 ball and 1 strike. Seitzer was 6 for 6 in that ball game with 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in, and 13 total bases. That's out of play, first base side. 1-2. 2 outs and the bases clear in the 3rd. No score. The Royals have out hit the Red Sox 2-1. Clemens looking for strikeout number 7, and his breaking ball missed low and away. Just missed. Full count now for the 2nd time in as many at-bats for Kevin Seitzer. Strike 3. Number 7 for Roger Clemens. At the end of 3, no score.
Tomorrow evening at 6, Stephen's female assistant offers more than her assistants. Will Stephen stray on Family Ties at 6? Then Sam and Diane are on the rocks on Cheers at 7. The laughs are on us. That's tomorrow night on TV 38.
The official 88 Red Sox yearbook is now available, and at 88 pages, it's the biggest edition ever. Order your copy by sending $6 to Yearbook, Box 1616, Boston 02130. No score through 3, and Dwight Evans leads off the 4th with a 2-hopper down to 3rd. Seitzer throws him out. Evans now 0 for 2.
The left fielder, Mike Greenwell.
Mike Greenwell, the batter. He flied to left his first time up. He's now 4 for 10 lifetime against Gubicza. Ball 1, or rather strike 1, on the inside corner. The Red Sox have just 1 hit, and Greenwell has 2 strikes.
Both these pitchers tonight may keep the respective lineups in the doldrums as far as getting a hit or a run.
Ooh, that one got away. Farland working on his glove, it appears. The 1-2 pitch in the dirt, 2-2.
Farland only one of 2 catchers now that I can recall quickly that do not have a finger outside that glove. Bob Boone with the Angels, the other one.
Balboni. 2 outs and 5 in a row retired by Gubicza.
The designated hitter, Sam Moore.
No runs, 2 hits for Kansas City. No runs, 1 hit for Boston, and Sam Horn, the batter. He walked his first time up. Gubicza has walked 2, and he has struck out 2. And another very easy inning, rather, for Mark Gubicza, who gets Horn on the comebacker to the mound. Through 3.5, no score.
Red Sox wrap up a very brief road trip in Kansas City here tomorrow night. We'll have the coverage for you. Bruce Hurst will be matched against Floyd Bannister. So a pair of left-handers there as Hurst will try to stay undefeated. Game time, 8:30 New England time. The game over most of these stations, so check your local listings.
It looks as though Hurst and Bannister are going to have a very tough act to follow, as Gubicza and Clemens matching zeros through 3.5. Rogers' first pitch of the 4th, a strike to George Brett. Brett, the last Royal to reach base. He singled to left in the first. Rogers retired 8 in a row since. He has struck out 6 of the last 7 men he has faced, and he's level with Brett, 1-1.
Talking about some hitters in that Minnesota lineup yesterday, the guys you don't want to tie or beat you. This is the man in the Royal lineup that would carry that tag with him, regardless of whether he's on a hot streak or a cold streak. He's a situation type hitter. If you need a home run, that's what George Brett goes to the plate looking for. If you need an extra base hit or to drive a run in or move a guy over, that's what George Brett goes to the plate looking for. Even if you have to go to the expense of facing a Tartabull who may be hot.
Barrett's throw was low, but Evans dug it out, and Al Clark right on top of the call. Brett is out number 1 in the 4th.
The right
A
fielder.
little deeper on Brett tonight. Take a little more time with him. He's not in the lineup because of some tenderness behind that right knee. That's the reason he's the designated hitter. And Barrett almost gets caught in between there. Actually, he would be in what would be the outfield grass. You just saw him behind that white line. So he was way deep, far deeper than the usual second baseman would make a throw from.
Danny Tartabull takes a strike. Tartabull flied to right his first time up. Didn't mean to, but he fouled it into the upper deck, first base side. It's quickly 0-2.
Strong young man, Jose Tartabull. Good power to right center field. Actually, you don't think about too many balls going out of this ballpark to center.
Another strikeout for Clemens. That is 8 in the ball game, and he has struck out 7 of the last 9 men he has faced. 10 in a row retired by Clemens.
Just a crowding fastball from Clemens, and power once again. One of the few times that side angle really gives you a good look of how far a hitter is behind.
Mike McFarland takes a strike.
Notice it early. Red Sox wrap up a very brief road trip in Kansas City here tomorrow night. We'll have the coverage for you. Bruce Hurst will be matched against Floyd Bannister. So a pair of left-handers there as Hurst will try to stay undefeated. Game time, 8:30 New England time. The game over most of these stations, so check your local listings.
It looks as though Hurst and Bannister are going to have a very tough act to follow as Gubicza and Clemens matching zeros through 3.5. Rogers' first pitch of the 4th, a strike to George Brett. Brett, the last Royal to reach base. He singled to left in the first. Rogers retired 8 in a row since. He has struck out 6 of the last 7 men he has faced, and he's level with Brett 1-1.
Talking about some hitters in that Minnesota lineup yesterday, the guys you don't want to tie or beat you. This is the man in the Royal lineup that would carry that tag with him, regardless of whether he's on a hot streak or a cold streak. He's a situation type hitter. If you need a home run, that's what George Brett goes to the plate looking for. If you need an extra base hit or to drive a run in or move a guy over, that's what George Brett goes to the plate looking for. Even if you have to go to the expense of facing a Tartabull who may be hot.
Barrett's throw was low, but Evans dug it out, and Al Clark right on top of the call. Brett is out number 1 in the 4th.
The right
A
fielder.
little deeper on Brett tonight. Take a little more time with him. He's not in the lineup because of some tenderness behind that right knee. That's the reason he's the designated hitter. And Barrett almost gets caught in between there. Actually, he would be in what would be the outfield grass. You just saw him behind that white line. So he was way deep, far deeper than the usual second baseman would make a throw from.
Danny Tartabull takes a strike. Tartabull flied to right his first time up. Didn't mean to, but he fouled it into the upper deck, first base side. It's quickly 0-2.
Strong young man, Jose Tartabull. Good power to right center field. Actually, you don't think about too many balls going out of this ballpark to center.
Another strikeout for Clemens. That is 8 in the ball game, and he has struck out 7 of the last 9 men he has faced. 10 in a row retired by Clemens.
Just a crowding fastball from Clemens, and power once again. One of the few times that side angle really gives you a good look of how far a hitter is behind.
Mike McFarland takes a strike.
Noticed it earlier with the side shot with Bo Jackson. All you're catching is a blur of the baseball, but you still are getting an idea of how far the hitter is behind the Clemens fastball.
McFarland looked at a called third strike his first time up. 1-1. No score. 2 outs and the bases empty in the bottom of the 4th.
So hard as a hitter to make yourself relax enough and keep your hands soft enough on the bat when you're attacking a power pitcher. Nolan Ryan is the guy that comes into my mind. When you face him, you try to grip the bat tighter and swing a little harder. The whole time it's just tightening your muscles and the swing slows down.
McFarland very nearly chased that one. It's 2-2.
The tighter you grip the bat, the tighter the muscles become, of course, and the tighter they are, the harder it is for them to work.
Popped up. Evans up against the tarp, makes the catch. The Royals go in order in the 4th inning, and Clemens has retired 11 in a row. At the end of 4, no score. The American League East standings entering tonight's play. New York on top by a game over Detroit, but the Yankees have lost 3 straight. Milwaukee is in 3rd place. The Brewers have won 9 in a row. Cleveland has dropped 5 straight, followed by Boston, Toronto, and Baltimore. Rick Cerone. Fair ball down to Seitzer. 1 out in the 5th.
Infielders giving Big Balboni a little workout around that bag over there, and for a big man, he is certainly agile. Those infielders like those big targets to throw to. They know that they can turn it loose a little bit high, and they've got a statue over there at first that can handle it for them. Second time that Balboni's had to get in that position to take a high throw, but yet hold the contact with the bag.
Jody Reed nearly hit by the first pitch to him. It's ball 1. Reed grounded to short. His first time up, he's 0 for 1. Monty Kubica has now retired 6 in a row, or check that, 7 in a row. The last 5 have all been ground balls. I guess there are ways you can tell Roger Clemens is on his game, and that's probably how Mark Kubica can tell that he's on his, because he likes to get those ground balls.
He should get a lot of ground balls with the movement. At one time, there was a big thought, well, you don't like sinker ballers working on AstroTurf because you get the big high choppers, but
hasn't been a problem so far. Seitzer does not come up with that one. Did a good job to knock it down on a sharply hit ball by Jody Reed, and the Red Sox have their 2nd hit.
Check the legs and the hand action of Jody. Watch how he gets down after this ball. Boy, that is just that's a perfect swing. You couldn't draw a picture of it on a chalkboard and have it come out any nicer. Also, you couldn't hit it much harder. Check that out. Boy, he is right there. Everything is right on the baseball. Consequently, he nails it. Seitzer knew he was going to have to get to the ground. He was going there early. And did do a great job of just knocking it down.
The hits now even at 2 apiece in this scoreless ball game. Reed at first with 1 out in the 5th. The batter is Brady Anderson, who walked his first time up. Strike 1. The glove of McFarland again, and back to the backstop. Reed around second, and he'll stop there. Second pass ball of the night for Mike McFarland.
This is a ball here that's just plain careless on McFarland's part. For one thing, it's on his glove side. Unless he gets crossed up, there's no reason not to catch this ball. He gets his elbow tied up just a little bit. Notice how the glove, his elbow had to come out and around the shin guard. Jody hustling it out to second. McFarland misplays it the second time on that same pitch, he's got a chance to go to third.
Runner in scoring position for Boston. 1-1 the count to Anderson. And 1-2 as Gubiza came right down the middle with the knees. Every base runner the Red Sox have had has moved into scoring position. Reed is the fourth. And he'll move over to third on the grounder to second as White throws out Anderson. Reed at third with 2 outs in the fifth in a scoreless ball game. Elsewhere in the American League tonight, the White Sox lead Baltimore 3-0 after 7. Minnesota 3, Milwaukee 0 after 3. Cleveland at California, Detroit at Oakland later starts. Ellis Burks is 0 for 2 tonight. He's fly to right and struck out.
In Oakland, somebody better find some way to beat those guys and better beat them quick.
Seitzer. And the inning is over as Gubiza continues to get ground ball outs. Halfway through, no score. Was mentioning just before the break, somebody better beat the Oakland Athletics in a hurry. They've won 13 straight, and they have an 8-game lead over Chicago in the American League West. Kansas City is third. The Royals have lost 5 straight. Then it's Texas, winners of 3 straight. Seattle, Minnesota, and California. Talking with John Walken before the game, he said it's too early to start worrying about Oakland, but then again, it might not be, because in another couple of weeks, they might have doubled their lead the way they're going. Bo Jackson struck out his first time up and follows the first pitch straight back for a strike.
Ordinarily, when you make a trade like the Oakland A's made over the wintertime and pick up a pitcher like Bob Welch, who's pitching for them tonight, and carries like a 4-2 record, I think it is, into the game with him, you would be talking, you'd be hearing a lot of things about what the job Welch has done. But Stewart's 8-0. They don't even talk about Welch at all. They're talking about Stewart, and they're talking about Eckersley. Eckersley continues to lead the league in saves with 11, and he's fit right into a job with the Oakland Athletics. That's been something for him. He wanted it a little stronger over the wintertime. He did a lot of bodybuilding, weightlifting. He's become strong, and they tell me that he's throwing the ball with pretty good velocity.
Clemens looking for strikeout number 9. And he just missed the outside corner. Roger has retired 11 in a row as he goes to work here in the 5th, and he has struck out 7 of the last 10.
Oakland will be in Fenway, too, in this next homestand, while the Red Sox are there on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That's the 16th, 17th, and 18th. It's worth the price of admission just to watch them take batting practice.
2-2 to Bo Jackson, leading off the 5th in a scoreless game.
Wouldn't it be something somewhere along in that series? It's possible that Clemens, just quickly going over my head here, Clemens may work the Wednesday game in that series. I'd have to do some serious figuring here, and I'll do it between innings. I don't know where Stewart would fit in one way or the other, but wouldn't that be something if those two hooked up in one of those 3 games?
Full count. I think Roger would like that just because Stewart has been doing so much popping off of late about how he earned the Cy Young Award last year and Roger didn't. But then when you really compare the seasons that they had, it was no contest.
The vote was right.
But Stewart might have the early lead this year, I think, Monty.
Oh.
The performance that he has put up so far.
He's threatening to run away and hide with that.
Payoff pitch to Bo Jackson. 12 in a row for Clemens.
Kind of interesting to note, too, that the Royals have not played anyone in that Western Division, and they won't until this next road trip coming up. They'll start to, I think, play 40 of their next 46 games against Western Division clubs, so they're not really sure how they can stand in with some of those teams over there. Seattle's playing a little bit better.
Frank White, the batter. 1 out and the bases empty in the 5th, no score. And Marty Barrett is a busy man. 13 in a row, retired by Roger Clemens.
Kansas City's also had the thing over the years that they haven't been too strong of of a team to go up and take the lead and be front runners for a good part of the season. They just keep themselves within striking distance till you get to September, or maybe the middle of August, and then all of a sudden you look up and you begin to worry about Kansas City.
Steve Balboni, the hitter. Strike one. John Wathan was talking before the game, Monty, about the fact that he really is not all that concerned about Oakland right now because of how early it is in the season. And he said if you start to worry about them and you're looking up at their score all the time, you forget what the Kansas City Royals have to do to play good baseball, which they have not lately. 0-2 the count to Balboni, who whiffed his first time up. And I think that's the right attitude to have. You can't get panicked at this stage of the year. It is so early. Worry about yourself.
Don't get panicked, but you may well be concerned.
Ripped down the line in the left. Foul. And not by much, and not very far short of that foul pole.
Some interesting numbers with Balboni against Clemens. Of course, as you might expect, Clemens will really hold the edge in strikeouts. 11 strikeouts now with the 1 strikeout tonight. But in the past, Balboni has been 2 for 19 against Clemens. The 2 hits that he had are round trippers. 1 home run to beat him last year.
See you later, Steve Balboni. 9 strikeouts for Roger Clemens. He has retired 14 in a row. At the end of 5, no score.
Still plenty of good seats available for the Red Sox charity exhibition game against the Cincinnati Reds. That's on May 19th, 1988. Of course it is. It's this summer. Just a couple of weeks away. Proceeds for the game will go to charity, with the major beneficiary being the Jimmy Fund. To make this occasion even more special, the Red Sox will honor Hall of Famer Bobby Doerr by retiring his number 1. All fans either in the park on May the 19th will receive a poster featuring Doerr, Ted Williams, and Joe Cronin. Of course, the latter two having their numbers also retired. To purchase tickets, phone 617-267-1700 or visit the Red Sox ticket office at 4 Yawkey Way.
First pitch of the 6th to Marty Barrett, hit well down the left field line, way back, and foul, says Jim Evans. And no argument from the Red Sox, although John McNamara is 2 steps out onto the field. He had a look to Joe Morgan, the third base coach, and Morgan said it was indeed just foul. There's McNamara going back in. That did not miss by much.
The way the foul pole's set here, the way they go into a curve, the screen is actually running along the top of the fence here. You don't see the screen sticking out, so if this ball is this close, if it doesn't hit the pole, then it has to be foul. That's exactly what happened. They had a foul ball, or a home run actually miscalled here last week when a ball actually hit the pole in right field and had pretty much the same type of caroming action, but the ball hit the pole and went into the stands. They called it a foul, and that's the way it stood. That one there is so very close. Another, maybe one more coat of paint on there.
Stillwell. Off the glove of Balboni. He dropped it. Nothing wrong with the throw. It was right at him. And an error against Steve Balboni, who hears some boos from the fans here.
Well, just as we were talking about what a great taker of throws he is from an infielder, he has this happen to him. Right in the heart of the glove. Just wouldn't stay there. Stillwell displaying a very strong throwing arm.
Error on Balboni. If you're scoring, credit Stillwell with an assist. Wade Boggs is 0 for 2. He's bounced out twice. No score. We're in the 6th. It's even at 2 apiece. Kansas City has just committed the game's first error. And Willie Wilson puts away out number 1. Barrett's back to first.
Well, each one of these teams now looking for some kind of break to take advantage of the way these two pitchers are going at each other here tonight. Clemens keeping the ball pretty much out of play, so there's not much of a break you would expect to get on his side, and the way Gubicza has been getting the ground balls, that's the first look at any kind of a break the Red Sox have gotten there so far. no crooked numbers or straight numbers either on that board tonight.
Dwight Evans. But first to throw to first. Barrett 0 for 3 after reaching on the error by Balboni. Ball 1 low and inside.
It was just one pitcher in a long line of very good arms that have been brought along by this Kansas City organization. Paul Splittorff and Busby, who are both now retired and both in the Royals Hall of Fame. Very, very good arms. Gubicza along with Saberhagen. They traded to get Leibrandt. He figures in. Of course, they traded to get Bannister. Danny Jackson, who has been traded away, a very, very good arm, and is starting for Cincinnati tonight. He's 4-1 on the year for the Redlegs. So they've had some great arms here.
1-1 the count to Evans. Gubicza has allowed 2 hits, both of them singles. He has walked 2. He has struck out 2. Tartable, 2 outs. Monty, Gubicza has an interesting delivery. Really not that dissimilar to John Troutwine's, the way he almost slings it up there. Does that take a while to get used to, or once you've been up there for
as far as the hitter's concerned? No, I don't think so. You just try to pick up a release point someplace. He does have a little bit of a slinging motion, but it's not a herky-jerky type motion that would really give a hitter a problem. The movement and the velocity is another story now.
That has certainly been a problem for the Red Sox tonight, including Mike Greenwell, who's 0 for 2.
Might throw Quisenberry's name in that list of great arms that have been in this Kansas City team. Although he's not a hard thrower, he certainly has been effective nonetheless.
Ball 1 low and inside to Greenwell. No score. 2 outs in the 6th. Gubicza working on Greenwell with Barrett at first.
John Wathan's been working with a 4-man rotation, something that's going to come to a halt here this Thursday. Ted Power, who was involved in that trade with Cincinnati that sent Jackson over to Cincinnati. Power coming here, along with the shortstop, Kurt Stillwell. Will pitch in an exhibition game in Omaha, much like the Red Sox are going to be playing against the Pawtucket Red Sox on Thursday. And once Power makes that start there, he is going to be inserted into the Kansas City rotation to bring it up to 5. Not too many 4-man rotations. Well, it just hasn't been any in a long time. The designated hitter kind of took care of that, really, in the American League.
Greenwell in the driver's seat at 3 balls and no strikes.
Last really strong 4-man rotation I could remember, and I was talking to John McNamara about this afternoon, was the Baltimore Orioles in 1971 when they had 4 20-game winners.
Hit high and deep to center field. Wilson back to the wall. He can't make the catch. Barrett being waved around third. He'll score easily. And Greenwell will pull into third with a stand-up triple. Boston leads 1-0. RBI number 14 for Greenwell, scoring Barrett.
Greenwell obviously a little upset with himself yesterday for going 0 for 5 when everybody else seemed to be chipping in. And he just has to be a little patient, wait till the next day. He'll be the one that adds this one on here. That ball tacked deep, you can imagine, because it gets over Wilson's head. And the Red Sox do take advantage of the break given them on the error turned in by Balboni, allowing Barrett to get on in the first place. It's a run, Roger, and that's exactly what they're telling him right now. See what you can do with it.
First triple of the season for Greenwell. He's at third with 2 outs for Sam Horn. The run against Gubicza unearned. The pitch, a strike on the outside corner. Horn has walked and tapped back to the mound. average down to 156. Oh, and 2. Out Horn, and the inning is over. But the Red Sox score an unearned run thanks to the error by Steve Balboni, and at the end of 5 1/2, it's Boston 1 and Kansas City nothing.
Law enforcement starting pay $25,000. Meet hundreds of lawyers, carry a gun at all times, and sooner or later get bitten by a drunk. Interested? No. Watch the Street. That's weeknights at 11:30 on TV 38.
Interested in the show, but certainly not that job description. Just a reminder, fans, tickets for Red Sox home games are on sale at the Red Sox ticket office on Yawkey Way at Fenway Park. Stop by Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., or on Saturdays from 9:30 to 2. To order tickets by phone, call 617-267-1700 and charge your tickets to any major credit card. And let's pause for station identification. This is the TV 38 Red Sox Network.
This is TV 38, WSBK TV, Boston.
In that general area, members of the NCAA Men's Ice Hockey Rules Committee, the gentleman in the yellow sweater and the blazer and glasses in the bottom right part of your screen is John Simpson, the former athletic director at BU, and to the left of our screen, Erwin Cohen, the gentleman sitting next to John Simpson, who is the athletic director at Northeastern. Kurt Stillwell pops up the first pitch of the 6th, and Wade Boggs makes the catch in foul territory for out number 1. The NCAA Ice Hockey Rules Committee meeting here in Kansas City this week. Billy Cleary, the hockey coach at Harvard, also at the game tonight. Charlie Holden, who's from Massachusetts. The director of officials for the NCAA, also here. Willie Wilson is 0 for 2. He steps in to face Roger Clemens, who's retired 15 in a row now. The Royals have not had a base runner since the first. And that string continues as Boggs made a nice play to throw out Wilson, who tried to bunt his way on.
Boggs really had it sniffed out because he just kind of inching in just a little bit. He wasn't going to give Wilson an awful lot of room. Wilson butts it awfully hard to bunt that ball on his astroturf when that third baseman's already on the move and beat it out no matter what kind of speed you got. Boggs staying on the move, making a very accurate throw, as well as getting something on the throw.
One 1-0 Boston. Very quickly, 2 outs in the 6th, and Kevin Seitzer is the batter. Strike 1. Seitzer has one of the 2 Royals hits. They were back-to-back singles by Kevin and George Brett in the first, and not a base runner since. Seitzer struck out his last time up, and he's quickly behind. 0-2. Clemens looking for his 10th strikeout. In a breeze, a 1-2-3 inning for Clemens in the 6th. At the end of 6, 1-0 Boston.
Obviously, the physical makeup of these 2 pitchers here tonight quite a bit different. Clemens upper left, but the leg drive for both pitchers, boy, they're right there.
Frank White makes the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out in the 7th. White retiring Rick Cerrone, who's now 1 for 3.
And Clemens one to work on, and we've talked about this over the wintertime, was strengthening the upper part of his leg, enable him to stay stronger into ball games. This the 8th and 9th inning. He still wanted to have the good strong legs to enable him to finish games off.
Jody Reed, an infield single his last time up. A hot smash off the glove of Kevin Seitzer. Ball 1 the count to Jody, who is starting his 7th straight game at shortstop tonight. 1-0 Boston. 1 run on 3 hits and no errors for the Red Sox. 0-2-1 for Kansas City. That's smoked down the line in left, and a foul ball. Jody Reed hitting the ball hard of late. Jody's hitting .286 over the last 7 games in which he has started. That kind of production, combined with his steady defense, those are the kind of numbers that will keep him in the lineup. 1-2.
Into the big leagues as a line drive type hitter, and he doesn't show me anything other than that right now. And he nailed that ball for his base hit in the 5th inning off Seitzer's glove at 3rd, and he nailed that foul ball there. Of course, they don't count foul balls. There's nothing about those that count anywhere other than your self-confidence. You like to be able to think you can take a pitch from a Gubazai type pitcher and pull it and hit it that hard without getting it off your hands. You get the idea you cannot throw it by you.
2-2.
Reed doesn't present a very big strike zone. As you look at his size there, he's 5'10". So when you throw it in the strike zone to him, you've just about thrown it in his power if he is 5'10".
Jody has another hit. Reed has half the Boston hits. He's 2 for 4 and a 1-out base runner for the Red Sox of the 7th.
Once again, you see the use of the legs, and that helps him so much in getting that bat on a plane that will drive that ball. Creates a line drive type hit. That ball, of course, with a bit of overspin on it. You don't see an awful lot of small type of hitters hit the ball with a lot of overspin on it. That's usually something a big, strong hitter does, where those wrists get involved in the swing. That ball there certainly had overspin on it. It just quickly shoots right through that left side.
Brady Anderson up with 1 out in the 7th. Reed at first. The Red Sox leading 1-0. Pitch out and nothing going on. Anderson has walked and bounced to second. Jody's been caught trying to steal on his only previous stolen base attempt this season. Jody Reed is going. The pitch a strike. The throw a 1-hopper, and Reed has his first stolen base. He's in scoring position with 1 out in the 7th and a count of 1 ball and 1 strike to Brady Anderson.
He's got about a standard lead. His foot just on the edge of the cut in that carpet. And McFarland with a quick throw, but a low one. It'll force White to really worry about keeping the ball in the infield to prevent further base advancement by Reed. He didn't even have a chance to try to apply in a tag. To Brady Anderson.
Brady stole a base after reaching in the 3rd. The Red Sox with 2 stolen bases tonight and now 14 for the season. Fouled straight back, 2-2.
Red Sox couldn't set a run up, or a run possibility up, I should say, a couple of years ago like this. Got some speed at the plate. You've got about average or a little better than average speed, and Jody Reed running at second. Playing in this ballpark here, it's a lot like trying to score from Fenway with a ball hit to left field. The ball gets to the outfielders so quickly.
Anderson out on strikes. Took it on the inside corner. He's the third strikeout victim of Mark Gubicza tonight.
Boy, you have to tip your hat to Gubicza here. Runner standing in scoring position. He made some tough pitches to Anderson. This one, the topper of them all. Started that ball off the plate inside. The hitter gives up on it. Here comes the tail, and out on that inside corner for the strikeout. Jackpot now. They're talking about what they possibly want to do with Ellis Burks here with first base open, and one of the Red Sox RBI leaders on deck in Marty Barrett. Not exactly between the devil and the deep blue sea as far as power is concerned, or hitting the ball out of the ballpark, but enough concern there that they wanted to get together and talk it over exactly what they wanted to do and try to handle Burks.
Gubicza hasn't had much of a problem with Burks tonight. Ellis is 0 for 3. 1-0 Boston in the 7th, and ball one high to Ellis Burks. And 1.
Doesn't bother Burks to get out of that lineup at all. He came right back in there yesterday and never missed it. Didn't seem like he missed a game.
He said before the game the wrist still does bother him after he swings. Little looper foul. Out of the range of Balboni. Ellis said that's why, as you see right now, he'll usually take a little extra time after he swings outside the batter's box, and by the time he steps back in, a little twinge of pain has subsided. Good news is his ankle doesn't bother him at all anymore. The 1-2 pitch, way outside and past McFarland. Reed goes into third. Not much McFarland could do about that one. No word on the scoring, but that should be the first wild pitch of the night thrown by Gubicza after 2 previous pass balls against McFarland.
Absolutely. He just broke a left-hand hitter's shins. All McFarland can do is play like an outfielder and turn around and play the carom. And he got a long one, as a matter of fact.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and Reed at third. That's well outside again, and the count now full. There is activity out in the Royal bullpen. They have a right-hander warming up, and it is Ted Power. Red Sox trying to add to a 1-0 lead. The 3-2 pitch. Slap to Balboni. He flips to Gubicza, and the inning is over. Heading to the 7th inning stretch. Boston 1, Kansas City 0. us at TV 38 are deeply saddened today over the loss of one of our members of our TV 38 family. Robert Shea, a longtime technician at Channel 38 for 17 years, passed away last night. Monty and I and the rest of the TV 38 crew here in Kansas City send our most heartfelt condolences along to Bob's wife, Maureen, and their children. Wonderful guy, Bob Shea. He will be deeply missed. To the bottom of the 7th we go. Roger Clemens has been untouchable since the 1st. George Brett, the last man to reach base, with a one-out single in the 1st, takes ball 1 outside. Since Brett had that single in the 1st, Clemens has retired 17 in a row. 1-1.
Seems as if Brett has given Clemens a little more room to the inside part of that plate. Now, Brett is still deep in the box in the same kind of leaning back type stance. That was a stance that Charlie Law really initiated with most of these Kansas City hitters. When I say giving him more room to the inside, he seems to have backed off toward the first base side of that batter's box a little more.
Makes it tougher to hit that pitch on the outside part of the plate, 1 and 2.
It does, but Brett is in a situation here where he can tie you. And he's thinking now, if he tries to come inside on me, I'm going to have enough room to get the head of this bat out and pull it.
Clemens goes away again, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Now with a 1 and 2 count on him, Brett the kind of hitter, or 2 and 2 count now, Brett the kind of hitter that'll go back and play the other way with you. He'll take whatever you want to try to give him now. If he has to take a slap base hit to left field, that's what he'll take. But still, don't think you can make a mistake and get away inside.
Oh, ugly swing by George Brett standards at that one. And that is strikeout number 10 for Roger Clemens, the 26th 10 strikeout or more game in his career. And when you consider that this is only the 112th start of Roger's career, it's 23.2% of all of his starts he has struck out 10 or more.
Now, you don't figure to strike out Brett very often. You just say he just did such a great job of pitching him.
And Brett certainly had the appropriate facial expression as well. Strike 1 to Danny Tartabull, who is fouled out to Brady Anderson, the right fielder, right along the rail. That was back in the 1st, and he struck out swinging in the 4th. 1-1. The only inning in which Roger Clemens has not had at least 1 strikeout was last inning. 1-0 Boston in the 7th. Hit well to center field. Burt in front of the warning track breaks the catch.
Another thing that may be helping Clemens a little bit as far as Brett is concerned, I'm not sure exactly if Cerrone would have been there, but this is the shot by Tartabull here. It's the part of the ballpark there you want to keep those strong hitters working in the 410-foot shot to straightaway center field. But Cerrone would have been calling a lot of those pitches for the New York Yankees, and Brett has just owned the New York Yankees, especially Goose Gossage for a couple of years in there. He would be well aware of Brett's intentions at this stage in a ball game.
Mike McFarland takes a ball. 2 outs and the bases clear in the 7th. Roger Clemens working on a 2-hit shutout. Both hit singles. They were back-to-back in the 1st with 1 out by Seitzer and Brett. And the Royals have not had a base runner since. 2-0.
Speaking of Brett and the Yankees, the Red Sox, of course, involved in that protested ball game last Friday night. Not too many people think that the Red Sox have a chance of winning, and they probably won't because it's a judgment called on the umpire whether the foot was disengaged from the rubber or not.
Oh, Dale Ford. That's 3 times tonight. He has taken a shot right off the bat, but I'll give him credit. He hasn't flinched a bit back there.
Well, maybe he's numb from the first one. Oh, that's got to hurt. It just does. It rings your ears. Looks like he may be chewing on some gum, too, which really is against what you should be doing. If it catches you in the middle of one of those chews, it just drives the jawbone right up into your ear channel, and that one did hurt him there. He's wobbling around a little bit, trying to flex it up and get it loose.
That's out of play. Dale Ford can't like being the home plate umpire in this park too much. He's been dinged a couple of times tonight, and you may recall that last year in that game the Red Sox played here when it was something like 150 degrees on the field. Dale Ford was the home plate umpire, had to put on all the heavy equipment and sit back there and bake on the AstroTurf and call the balls and strikes. Strikeout number 11 for Clemens. He has retired 20 in a row. At the end of 7, Boston 1, Kansas City nothing. $24,806 on hand at Royal Stadium, and one of the members of the crowd tonight, John Fougere of Framingham, Massachusetts, who's a student at the University of Missouri, a big Red Sox fan. He asked us to say hello to his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Robert Fougere of Framingham. Marty Barrett leads off the 8th and looks at ball 1. 1-0 Boston. The Red Sox about hit the Royals 4-2. But the biggest play in the game, the only error of the game, committed by Steve Balboni, that allowed Barrett to reach in the 6th, and he scored on a triple by Mike Greenwell with 2 outs. Barrett is 0 for 3. Elsewhere tonight, it's now a final. The White Sox have shut out Baltimore 3-0. Jerry Royce and Bobby Thigpen combined on a 4-hitter. 1-2 to Barrett. The win for Royce, the 200th of his major league career. He and Milt Pappas, the only 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball history to win 200 games for a career without a single 20-win season. Pretty good trivia question right there.
Milt Pappas would have been one all by himself.
Down into the corner. Barrett will get at least 2, and Bo Jackson gets it in time to stop Marty at second. A leadoff double for Marty Barrett in the 8th. Hit number 5 for Boston.
Well, outfielders have to be so careful when the ball gets down these lines and into the corner, and you're going to see why here. Jackson, even though he plays here all the time, almost has this ball get by him. It's going to quickly get by Seitzer. That ball really cleaned out from the inside by Barrett. Now, here's where the trouble begins. See how that ball kicks out? It didn't stay on the wall. It did slow down enough to allow Jackson to get to it, though, and prevent the triple.
Wade Boggs takes a ball outside. Wade is 0 for 3.
It's kind of interesting, the outfield set on Boggs now. They're just about straight away on him. Does that mean, if you were the hitter, Boggs, you would have to say to yourself, now, why would they move those fielders back there unless they're going to pitch me a little bit differently this time? Of course, Boggs' responsibility now is to pull the ball some way to the right side to move Barrett along. That one run in the person of Barrett there could be a very big one in this ball game.
Gene Garber will now be joined by the lefty Bud Black, warming up in the Kansas City bullpen.
Now Wilson's moved back toward left center a little bit on Boggs.
Wade goes down the line. Long run for Seitzer, and he can't make the basket catch.
Tough play for a third baseman. The shortstop really has the better angle, but he can't get there. And Seitzer doesn't have enough time to get himself stationed where he can turn around to make the catch, even though the Seitzer has the good speed. The only way he had to go was over the shoulder, and with the basket catch, it looked like the ball hit between the glove and his body, maybe somewhere off the arm. I tell you what, try it sometime. Go out in your backyard, try to run as fast as you can and look straight up in the air and find out how difficult it is. That's probably one of the hardest things that a fielder ever has to do.
That way again, but this time out of play. And the count to Boggs is 2 balls and 2 strikes. No outs. Marty Barrett at second in the 8th inning. The Red Sox lead 1-0. 1 run on 5 hits, no errors for Boston. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 error committed by the Royals. 1 very big error. It's the difference in the game. Barrett is now hitting 5 straight after his double. Bo Jackson with the run. 1 out. In the ball game we mentioned a couple of moments ago in Baltimore, the shutout for Jerry Royce and Bobby Thigpen. Dan Pasqua drove in all 3 of the White Sox runs, including a home run. Minnesota leads Milwaukee 7-1 at the end of 5.5 at the Metrodome. Brewers' 9-game winning streak in jeopardy. As is Dwight Evans' 5-game hit streak. He is 0 for 3 tonight. I can handle this one myself. That's out number 2. On the play, Marty Barrett moves to third. Cleveland did not score in the top of the 1st inning at Anaheim. The Angels now at bat against John Farrell. Dan Petrie, the starter for California tonight. Mike Greenwell has driven in the game's only run with a triple over the head of Willie Wilson in center field in the 6th. That's Mike's only hit in 3 trips. Straight back for a strike. The only other game in the American League not yet underway. Detroit at Oakland. The Athletics looking for their 14th straight win. One final in the National League. Cincinnati shut out Philadelphia 2-0. A 1-hitter for Danny Jackson. The former Royal, now 5-1. 0-2 to Greenwell. Los Angeles at the Cubs was rained out. San Francisco leads Pittsburgh 2-1 after 4 in Pittsburgh. Barry Bonds' 6th home run of the year for the Pirates. Atlanta leads Montreal 8-4 in the bottom of the 7th at Atlanta. Houston 3, the Mets 2 through 4. The Mets have won 5 straight. And St. Louis leads San Diego 6-1 in the 5th at St. Louis. Here it's 1-0 Boston and 1-2 to Mike Greenwell. Good stop by McFarland. It saved a run. 2-2.
Has been rather busy behind that plate tonight. A little lax on a couple of throws and had the ball get by him, but the balls that have been in the dirt, he was handling each one of those perfectly.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And everything remains the same as that goes out of play down the left field line.
Well, there must be a lot of hitters struggling over in that National League, or the pitching has gotten awfully good. Draybeck had a no-hitter yesterday into the 9th inning. Tudor had a no-hitter and 2 straight outings for him. Of course, he's on a pitch limit over there since recovering from that surgery. Boy, they got some pitchers really doing a job.
Greenwell has battled back from 0-2 to a full count. Gubiza experiencing the same kind of thing that Danny Jackson went through last year with this Royals club. They just didn't score any runs for Jackson at all. And Gubiza has pitched a wonderful ball game tonight with absolutely no support. A guy named Clemens has something to do with that, though. Leave Marty Barrett at third base. Going to the bottom of the 8th. 1-0 Boston. stadium, and we want to take just a second to let you know that our good friend George Berardi, the president of the Bo Sox Club, has announced that again this year the Bo Sox Club will sponsor 15 youngsters, maybe even that young man, for a full week of instruction at the Mike Andrews baseball camp. All young players, 9 to 18 years of age, are invited to write to the Bo Sox Club and in their own words tell why they would like to be selected to go to the camp for a week in July. Send your letters to the Bo Sox Club, Fenway Park, Boston, 02215. Letters must be received no later than June 21st. I'm sure Roger Clemens went to camp as a youngster. No matter what he did to prepare himself for Major League Baseball, he did all the right things. He has done all the right things tonight, certainly. He's retired 20 in a row as he goes to work in the 8th with a 1-0 lead. Bo Jackson is 0 for 2. He has struck out and grounded to second. The crowd trying to stir up the Royals. Strike 1 to Bo Jackson. He'll be followed by Frank White and Steve Balboni here in the 8th.
See Clemens get this strike down in that area.
Clemens going for strikeout number 12. He has it. 12 strikeouts for Clemens. He has struck out 3 of the last 4, and he's retired 21 straight.
Check Cerrone. See where he's setting? He's setting out there far enough so that Roger does not make any kind of mistake. He's going to set that target up. He'll use his whole body. Of course, we pointed out last time when Roger worked how strong he is at picking up the catcher throughout the windup and the delivery. Just for a second, does his eyes leave the mitt.
Frank White fouls it straight back for a strike. White is struck out and grounded to second.
It's frustrating after a while. It's frustrating right from the start, really, when a power pitcher has the chance to get the ball by you and in little small spots. That's what it forces you to do. You get over anxious trying to catch up to the fastball, and you commit yourself way too early, and all of a sudden you've gone for a breaking ball that's out of the strike zone by a long way. Not even close.
Clemens has struck out every Royal in the lineup tonight at least once. He's trying to get White for the second time. And he does.
Hey, there's something else that's happened in this ball game tonight, too. Cerrone has made that play, and Roger himself has made that play just a little bit wider. Now, this pitch, Frank White may have a gripe on this pitch. We'll have another look at it, see where Cerrone is setting. Let's see how much the mitt moves. Now, that's very borderline. I don't think that ball's on the plate.
No.
But where Cerrone is set up.
It was right in the mitt. Balboni fouls the first pitch away for strike 1. Balboni has gone down twice.
Catcher and a pitcher, certainly with that kind of control that Clemens has had tonight, and the kind he'll have most often, he'll make that plate just a little bit wider. He has it. When he's missed tonight, he's missed by probably inches. And I'm talking about less than 2 or 3 inches as opposed to completely opposite side of where Cerrone has set up.
Roger has retired 22 straight. The Red Sox lead 1-0. 2 outs and the bases empty in the 8th. And Roger is 1 strike away from his 14th strikeout, his 4th in a row. And his 5th over the last 6 batters. The Royals have just 2 hits. They were back-to-back singles in the first by Kevin Seitzer and George Brett. Clemens has not issued a walk.
Roger was having a little court with himself. Maybe he was undecided about what he wanted to do with Balboni 0-2.
Nothing undecided about that one. Clemens strikes out the side in the 8th. Balboni has gone down swinging all 3 times. 14 strikeouts for Roger. He's retired 23 in a row. We go to the 9th. 1-0 Boston. Sam Horn has walked and twice bounced out. And the first pitch of the 9th, low for a ball. 1 run on 5 hits and no errors for Boston. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for Kansas City. That's line right to Balboni.
The catcher, Rick Cerone.
Rick Cerone has one of the 5 Boston hits. He singled the center his first time up. He's 1 for 3. Breaking ball in for a strike. Gubas has relied mostly on the ground ball tonight. He has struck out just 3. He's ahead of Cerone 0-2. Gubas a 7-5 lifetime against the Red Sox, but his ERA not that impressive, 4.97 against Boston. 1-2.
Looked like almost the same pitch that Clemens had for a strike on White.
Look out, 2-2. That's off the foot and a foul ball. Nothing Boston in the 9th. 1 out and the base is empty. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count on Rick Cerone. And now a full count. And Gubas seemed a bit exasperated that he did not get that call.
Well, I don't blame him. Looks like he may be coming up with a little tender spot on his thumb. There's some good working action on this fastball. Got a tough one. There's some awfully good pitches in this at bat to Cerone, and hasn't gotten him out yet.
Well, we put the curse on Dale Ford just when we said he'd had a consistent strike zone all night long, and had been giving both pitchers the borderline pitches. Mark Gubas has thrown 2 that were close and both called balls. And this at bat to Cerone. And Rick hangs alive at 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out and the bases empty in the top of the 9th, and Boston leading 1-0. And that just missed high. Gubas went to the off-speed pitch and walked Cerone. He's still upset. That's the 3rd walk thrown by Gubas. His first since the 3rd inning.
Well, he's been around that plate enough tonight to have gotten himself 1 or 2 of those close calls, too. That pitch there is too high on the breaking ball. There's no doubt about that. That's not what Gubas is so upset about. He's upset about those 2 fastballs, the one that missed the outside corner, and then the one later on in the sequence to Cerone that missed the inside corner.
2 for 3 tonight is Jody Reed. The Red Sox have a chance to get an insurance run for Roger Clemens. Strike 1 over the knees. Reed, 2 hits, both singles, and he stole a base, his first of the year after singling in the 7th. He gets that pitch on the corner. It's 0-2. In the National League, Atlanta has defeated Montreal 9-8. Houston leads the Mets 6-2 in the 8th. St. Louis 7-1 over San Diego in the 8th at Busch Stadium. San Francisco leads Pittsburgh 4-3 in the 6th. And we gave you the final earlier, Cincinnati 2-0 over Philadelphia. That's well outside, 1-2.
Well, I'll tell you, here's a spot here. A lot of managers like to use this, not an awful lot of them, but I think it's a good play. We've got a slow man at first base and a decent contact hitter up there in Reed. 0-2, it's a little bit risky to do it. 1-2, put the hit and run on right here. The worst I can come up with the thing is getting the guy double off. Might wind up with him in scoring position.
Check swing, looper to left, a base hit. Cerrone stops at second. Jody Reed is 3 for 4.
The right fielder.
He has half the Boston hits, 3 for 6.
Oh, they didn't mean to on this one. It's a line drive, kind of a looping line drive nonetheless. And more importantly, it winds up with Cerrone now in scoring position. Now there's some thinking has to go on. Frank Funt coming off with the glasses and out to the mound.
And John Wathan pondering the situation in the dugout.
The Royals have to keep the ball out of play here. And Garber.
Brady Anderson 0 for 2 with a walk. Struck out his last time up. 1-0 Boston. 2 aboard with 1 out in the 9th. Hit high and deep, but twisting foul down the right field line. Breeze has died down considerably. Really no breeze to speak of now here at Royal Stadium. It was a very windy afternoon here. Gale force winds earlier this afternoon, but now just a very light breeze. That's low. 1-1.
Good chance here, too, even on a ground ball, that the inning could stay alive. Remember, Reed has a chance to get a big jump from first. And, of course, Anderson, batting left-handed with good speed, could probably stay out of the double play. It would have to be nailed right out of Kansas City infield, and that would give Burks an opportunity.
Just missed the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike.
I'm sure Dale Ford's getting some lip service out of that Kansas City Royals dugout.
John McNamara, who, as far as I know, does not consult an astrologer before he makes decisions concerning the Boston Red Sox. The 2-1 pitch. Base hit to right field. Cerrone got a late jump off second, and he will stop and try to get back in the third. The throw hit him. The ball is free in foul territory, and everybody is safe. Joe Morgan was waving Cerrone in all the way. He got about halfway to the plate, and I think he realized he wasn't going to make it. And he got back into third because the throw from McFarland hit him.
Even with the throw-off line, Cerrone was not going to beat this throw by Tartabull to the plate. This is where we talked earlier, that ball gets to the outfield so quick. Cerrone wasn't even looking at Morgan to get the go sign. He was looking there. Now he gets back inside the line, and that's where the ball hits him there.
Bases loaded for Boston with 1 out in the 9th. They're looking to build on a 1-0 lead, and John Wathan has gone to the mound to take Gubicza out of the ball game and bring in Gene Garber. We'll take a break. Garber steps into a bases-loaded 1-out situation in the 9th. Boston leading 1-0 with a chance to really make it easy for Roger Clemens in the bottom of this inning. Ellis Burks up. He's 0 for 4. 1 run on 7 hits, no errors for Boston, no runs, 2 hits, 1 error for the Royals. Infield, the double play depth at the middle, even with the bags at the corners. Ball 1 is low and inside. Garber is 40 years old. He's been in professional baseball since 1965. First broke into the majors with Pittsburgh in '69. 1-1 now to Ellis Burks. past third. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Makes the catch. Cerrone won't try it. Jackson put it on the fly to the plate. Burks is 0 for 5. Bo's got great speed and a great arm.
He certainly does. Remember that throw he made in Fenway without taking a stride? This ball is hit on the line to him, and he returns it the same way, all the way to the Kansas City catcher McFarland in the air.
He really doesn't even wind up.
No.
Throws the ball like an infielder. So now 2 outs and the bases loaded. Top of the ninth, 1-0 Boston. Marty Barrett is 1 for 4. He doubled his last time up, last inning. Some of the viewers might be wondering why wouldn't they pinch run for Cerrone, but with the chemistry he's had with Clemens tonight and the Red Sox already with the lead, I would imagine that's more important than the extra speed that you might gain, which may or not come into play. If Burks gets a hit, obviously Cerrone scores easily anyway, and it wouldn't have mattered who was running. In the dirt, and it hit Barrett. The ball struck Barrett, says Dale Ford. John Wathen's going to argue. Cerrone scores. And it's 2-0 Boston.
Well, Cerrone's going to score now, no matter how it's ruled, because he's already scored. That ball was off and rolling toward the Red Sox dugout.
Be arguing that Barrett didn't make much of an effort to get out of the way of that. With Garber's soft serves, you really have all day to get out of the way of those pitches. Now they're going to look at the baseball. Perhaps the claim was it hit Barrett in the shoe and they're looking for some shoe polish. I doubt it. Looks like they're just going to throw the ball out of play.
Does hit him. If it does, hit him in the knee.
Yep. And the Royals might have a beef. It didn't exactly look like Marty was diving to get out of the way of that pitch.
Well, he's not really required to get out of the way of a ball that's that far inside. Now, if it's close, yeah, maybe so.
Bases still loaded for Wade Boggs, who takes ball 1 well inside. The RBI, number 20 for Barrett. He leads the club. Tied for the team lead now with Evans.
I know one thing, Barrett had a pretty good teacher in watching Baylor for a year and a half, but if that's the case.
Greenwell's learned the trick pretty well this year, too. Boggs is 0 for 4 tonight. And level on the count, 1-1. 2-0 Boston. 2 outs and the bases loaded in the top of the ninth. And a big insurance run across for Roger Clemens. The inning is over. But the Red Sox add a run, and Roger Clemens takes the mound in the ninth. Scheduled to face Stillwell, Wilson, and Seitzer, with Boston leading 2-0. Kurt Stillwell, 0 for 2. He is struck out and popped up to Wade Boggs in foul territory. He'll be followed by Wilson and Seitzer in the ninth. Off off-speed pitch over the belt for a strike. Clemens has not issued a walk. He has struck out 14. Out of play, 0-2. I really don't know, Monty, if this is another example of what we have said so often about Clemens, that he gets stronger as he goes along, because there wasn't really ever a point in this game, with the possible exception of the first inning, that he wasn't strong.
Well, he took an inning off. He didn't strike out anybody in the, in the sixth.
We'll have to talk to him about that.
As a matter of fact, that was the easiest inning he's had all night long. A foul pop out, then Wilson tried to bunt his way on. Boggs making a good play there, and a retired Seitzer on a grounder. He really kind of needed one of those innings because he's thrown a lot of pitches tonight with all these strikeouts, certainly.
Strike 3. 5 strikeouts in a row. He struck out 6 of the last 7 and 15 for the ball game. Roger has now retired 24 Royals in a row.
Back to the power once again. Tonight he's been just about whatever he's wanted to be. Any kind of pitcher he's wanted to be.
One out and the bases empty in the bottom of the ninth. 2-0 Boston, and Willie Wilson is the batter. He's 0 for 3. He struck out his first time up. Every Royal in the lineup tonight has struck out at least once. And that's strike 1. Joe Morgan. Oh, and 2. Just missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. They have to hurry. Not in time. First hit and first base runner for the Royals since the first, and it was just a chopping single by Wilson in the ninth.
That's all Wilson's trying to do, just make some contact, protect against striking out. The thing the Royals are interested in right now is keeping something alive here. This base hit will do it unless Seitzer bounces into a double play. Is get Brett back to the plate, with hopefully him representing the tying run. Reed did all he could do. The right infielder handles the throw. Barrett would have had no chance going away from the play. The man coming toward it is Reed, and the stronger arm, and still he couldn't do anything about it.
Kevin Seitzer has one of the Royals' 3 hits. He singled in the first. Then Brett singled, and that was all for 24 straight batters until Wilson reached on the infield single here in the ninth. Seitzer represents the tying run, and he's behind 1 strike. And now we see just how big indeed that run the Red Sox scored in the top of this inning is. Breaking ball, missed outside, ball 1. That missed. 2-1.
An extra run probably has taken the legs away from Willie Wilson. Mentioned, the object now is to get Brett back to the plate, having him represent the tying run. Evans playing right behind Wilson, and then backing off well before Clemens gets set to come to the plate.
Now it's 2-2. George Brett on deck.
you'd have to think about it. If you do have Wilson still and then Seitzer gets an out, you take the bat out of Brett's hand altogether. You're not going to see him more than likely, even though Tartabull is strong enough to hit the ball out of here. Take your chances with the right-hander.
The 2-2 pitch. Fouled on a play. This is the second time in his career that Roger Clemens has struck out 15 Kansas City Royals in one ball game. He struck out 15 Royals back on August 21st, 1984. John Wathan was a player then. And what is just as amazing, in both of those ball games, tonight's and the ball game in '84, Roger did not walk a single batter. The 2-2 pitch. Again, lined on a play by Seitzer. 2-0 Boston. We're in the ninth. One out. Willie Wilson at first.
Lines have to be protected at this point. Evans now, as he drops back, dropping a little bit closer to that right field foul line. Boggs stationed close enough, should be stationed close enough to third to prevent it squeezing by him.
Clemens didn't like the grip on the ball and stepped off.
They're not interested in where Willie Wilson winds up. They're interested in keeping Seitzer out of scoring position as the hitter.
The 2-2 pitch. Again, Seitzer stays alive. Strikeouts for Roger Clemens. 2 outs in the ninth.
Finally wedged one inside on that inside corner. Seitzer had been playing tough with the Clemens fastball when it was out over the plate, so he could extend a little bit. All he could do there was foul off.
George Brett, the only man standing between Clemens and his third shutout of the year. Brett singled in 3 trips. A single to left, his first time up. Ball 1 outside. 2 outs in the ninth. Boston 2, Kansas City nothing. Evans playing way behind Wilson now and right on top of the first base line. Good pitch. Outside corner at the knees. 1-1.
Well, what they're saying right now, they're saying to George, look, you're going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. You're going to have to hit it out on me to the opposite field. They're going to stay right there. I don't think they'll even sniff that inside part of the play. Clemens said, yeah, I wanted that call. I needed it.
He knew that was a great pitch. Wilson is going. Ball 2 is high.
That shouldn't be a stolen base. They'll probably give it to him here, but it can be defensive indifference. Evans playing is about as deep as he can get, almost back into right field.
They did announce it as a stolen base, the 8th for Wilson. The 2-1 to Brett. Strike 2. Brett didn't come close to that fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs. Brett represents the tying run at home plate. In the bottom of the ninth, Boston leading 2-0.
Here's where Cerrone has to check now to make sure that Brett doesn't move up on the plate. He hasn't moved. He's in the same spot.
He hangs alive. That's out of play down the left field line.
Thought that he could like tonight.
Or over the last 6 games.
just a bit high, would you say?
I would like to see it again.
If it's high, it is just a bit high.
That is high. Yep. Cerrone did a good job of making it look like a better pitch. Crowd rising to their feet. 3-2 with 2 outs. Brett the tying run at the plate. Out of play.
Absolutely would not give in to him.
Again, the 3-2 pitch, but first a step off by Clemens. And a glance at Wilson at second. 2 outs. Bottom of the ninth, 2-0 Boston. The tying run at the plate. Ball 4. First walk issued by Roger Clemens.
That'd be one of the smartest ones.
Danny Tarnable. Got Dale Ford again.
I'll tell you, he'll need 3 days off. Going from third, second to first before going behind the plate to shake all those off. He hasn't had any glancing blows either. I mean, they have been direct hits.
The tying runs on base, the potential winning run at the plate. 2-0 Boston with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Tarnable is 0 for 3. Line deep to right. Anderson with room. He makes the catch and the ball game is over. Roger Clemens, a 3-hit shutout. He struck out 16. It's his 3rd shutout of the year. And Boston wins 2-0. For the ball game, 2 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for the Red Sox. No runs, 3 hits, and 1 very important error committed by Kansas City. Back with the wrap-up after this. No errors for Boston. The Red Sox left 10 men on base. 1 run, 3 hits, and 1 error committed by Kansas City. The Royals stranded 4. Roger Clemens gets the win. He's now 5-1. It's his 3rd shutout of the year. He's 7-1 lifetime against Kansas City. Mark Gubas, the tough luck loser, now 3-4. And the Kansas City Royals as a team have lost 6 straight. In those 6 ball games, they have just 29 hits as a ball club. So that's less than 5 a game. That is a very good indication of why they have lost 6 straight. And you had to like that track record coming into this game against Roger Clemens, as you pointed out. The scene was set for the kind of performance we saw by Roger Clemens. The only run Roger would need came in the 6th inning. A very costly error committed by Steve Balboni. The leadoff man, Marty Barrett, hit a routine ground ball to short. Kurt Stillwell's throw was right on the money. Balboni dropped it for an error. Barrett stayed at first base for 2 outs. Then Mike Greenwell stepped up.
Mike Greenwell got shut out yesterday in the hit department. He only got the 1 hit tonight, but it was the biggest one in this ball game, really. Over the head of Willie Wilson in center field. That in itself is a job all alone to hit it over Wilson's head. And, of course, Barrett scoring all the way from first. Greenwell with that triple, and a little bit of a scare. That extra run scored by the Red Sox in the 9th inning kind of made it a little bit easier, a little easier breathing room. Tonight belongs to Roger Clemens, though. He just dominated this ball game throughout and pitched so smartly, very smart in that 9th inning.
He struck out 16 while walking just 1. The final score of tonight's game, Boston 2, Kansas City nothing. This is the TV 38 Red Sox Network.
Tonight's Anheuser-Busch player of the game is Roger Clemens as he picks up his 5th win of the season against 1 loss, his 3rd shutout, striking out 16 Kansas City batters along the way. Congratulations, some Anheuser-Busch, and Roger, this case of Bud is for you.
Red Sox baseball has been brought to you in part by your local Pepsi-Cola bottlers. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation. By New England Telephone. We're the one for you, New England. New England Telephone. By Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. And by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows. Join us again tomorrow night at 8:30 from Royal Stadium as the Red Sox and Royals wrap up this 2-game series. Wednesday night at 8, the Movie Loft presents And Justice for All. Stay tuned next for The Streak. This has been a TV 38 Sports presentation.